G'day fellas and welcome to a casted game. Spawning in on the south side of the map, we have got the Thunder from Down Under. It is Hut playing the Abbasid Dynasty in the color blue. Gonna be starting us off with a scout opening. Already got that first scout out. Gonna be looking to get that second one out as well. Looking to pick up those sheep behind his base and look to scout out his opponent potentially. Speaking of which, who is he? Let's go take a look on the other side of the map, spawning in on the north side. Starting off with a double scout build order or double scout opening as well. It is the one and only GUA, aka Give You Anxiety, aka Mark at Forgotten Empires. He's back, baby, and he's playing the Rus. I'm incredibly excited to see this today. Oh, it's been a while since I've watched a good GUA game. And when I say that, I'm not saying that GUA games aren't good, or that not that there's not enough of them. I'm just saying it's been a while since I've sat down and I've been like, this is a good GUA game. I think the last one that we had was on Confluence. Do you guys remember? So I'm not sure if you guys know, but there was a game on Confluence where GUA was playing, I want to say French, and he was up against, I'm going to say Abbasid or Mongols. I can't remember exactly. But it was wild, dude. It was so wild. It was like, he was just spamming Horseman at the guy, and it was like a game that went for 90 minutes. It was just the craziest thing you've ever seen. Speaking of games that go for 90 minutes, have you guys seen in Age of Empires 2 this week? There was a little bit of a crazy game that happened. It lasted for 91 hours, I want to say, 92 hours? I can't remember. Anyway, I was just browsing the Microsoft store, and it came up. It's like, hey, you like Age of Empires? How about this? 92-hour game of Age of Empires 2? Not really. It was on Twitter. But anyway, yeah, I think it was Rubenstock playing up against, I want to say Andre. I'm hoping that I remember their two names. But yeah, it was a little bit of like a weird stalemate situation where both players could technically win and both players could technically lose. But they sort of, they had to wait for the other player to sleep. Because they essentially just had castles, and the castles were going to keep them alive. But anyway, look, that's a story for another day. And speaking of another day, it looks like GUA going to be able to save up plenty of gold as he continues to take down all these wolves out the front of his base. Look at that. Up to 210 at the moment, dropping down that golden gate. Looking to get up to the next stage, already dropping down that lumber camp as well. And I got to say, this is such a smart move by GUA. I'm not sure if you guys picked up on this. GUA had a sheep next to his hunting cabin, just sitting there. And he literally timed it so that as soon as the sheep finished, he was able to transition his villagers from food onto wood. Insane. Insane stuff from GUA. Really, really good play. Now, this guy, if there was one way I would describe the play of GUA, it is immaculate. Like, the way that he plays, in my opinion, it's just very rounded, it's very solid. He doesn't make a lot of mistakes, and for me, that is like that's part of having that rounded play style. And now you can actually see GUA gonna have a bit of trouble here. No, he's made a mistake. Oh, GUA, just when I said that you don't make mistakes, you make a mistake. So what do? You click on the wolf and you see how much health it's got. You do 3 damage for your shots against wolves. So what you want to do is you want to shoot it once with a scout, wait for your reload, and then shoot it with 2 scouts at the same time. And you can do that if you just click on them. But GUA tried to be very sneaky. Unfortunately, not a lot of luck. But still sitting at 220 at the moment on the bounty. He's got 8 sheep here. That's going to take him well and truly above that 280 or 250 threshold. We often talk about that as the most important threshold to get with the Rus. If you can get to that, you're feeling pretty good, pretty healthy, because it's going to help you out a lot with your professional scouts. You can see that he is struggling a little bit when it comes to his resources. Does have the ticket in the ticket in the building. I don't even know what to say. He's got the ticket in the rear. He's got his ticket ready to throw up. New age up or begins for Hut, the Australian sensation, the Thunder from Down Under. It is Hut, of course. Going to be going for the wheelbarrow build. Now, we've seen this once tonight from... we saw this from Snooper coming out, where Snooper did a wheelbarrow opening as the Abbasid Dynasty and then went straight into stable as well. So it looks like these two guys are definitely playing with each other. So Snooper, if you're out there, mate, I'm seeing your build order. And I'm respecting it, mate, because that is some good stuff. But speaking of good stuff, it looks like GUA going to be responding straight away. And you can see this is part of what makes GUA such a an amazing player is he's always scouting his enemy. And you can see very inconspicuously scouting his enemy right here, just leaving the scout right, you know, in front of the enemy's base. And we've got ourselves a little bit of a scout fight. No animation canceling in this one. This one has all been fixed up. This is there are no longer any animation canceling fights. But I will just note, now that I've just remembered it, this is part of N4C. Now, if I haven't mentioned that before, N4C, that is Nilly's Apartment Cup, but it's not Nilly's Apartment Cup anymore, it's just N4C. So Nilly's hosting this huge event in Germany. This is part of the qualification rounds for it. Both Hut and Give You Anxiety looking to get into that tournament. I'm pleased to announce that I will actually be casting in Germany in person in March. So for me, at the moment, it's February. If you're watching this on YouTube and it's February for you, that means you might be able to tune in. So I'm going to leave a link in the description over to where you can find more information, where you can watch games live, where you can see more of the games or more of the content that is coming out of that event, because that is going to be absolutely huge. I'm looking forward to it, and I know a lot of you guys will be looking forward to it as well. But let's take a look over at GUA's perspective and see exactly what he sees. You know that song? I don't want to get DMCA'd, but do you see what I see? I think they use it in a lot of advertisements for cars. Do you see what I see? That one, it's a classic. It's a classic. It goes down very well. But GUA now sees quite a fair bit with that wooden fortress up on the front line. Going to get some spears out. And now also going to be transitioning into an archer force as well. So probably going to be looking to match the archers of his opponent. Indeed he is. Spears coming out, doing a pretty decent job. And you can see players are beginning to fight over the hunts on the ground in the middle of the map here. Have we got a professional scout coming out yet? No, we don't. So it is just the wheelbarrow that is out at the moment for Hut. And he's looking to try and control these hunts, looking to try and make the counterplay. I'm very curious to see how this game unfolds, because at the moment, I mean, Hut is looking incredibly strong. He's got the double stable archery range already out at this point in time. Economic wing has taken off the economic, fresh foodstuffs. No upgrades for the lumber camp at the moment. No specialized pick. Only the wheelbarrow upgrade at this point in time, and he is beginning to try and get a little bit of security over on his opponent's side of the base. And look what we see over here. We've got ourselves a little bit of a camel scenario. Once again, these bad boys absolutely love to spit. They love to scare. They love to smell bad. They love to do all those things. But most importantly, they love to hump. They got these big humps on them. They just love their own humps. But now it looks like GUA getting caught out a bit of position here. You can see he's got his enemy horseman here chasing down his scouts. He's got to be careful. He's going to be losing one. Speaking of careful, this Hut camel archer does a lot of bonus damage against these spears. So have a look how much damage it does. One shot right there. Second shot. Do we see the second shot? Second shot. It literally like 3 shots, those spears. You got to be so careful. And now Hut looking to overwhelm GUA here. These are early stages of this tournament. GUA wouldn't want to get knocked out this early, but you can see that he's having a little bit of a tough time here up against the camel archers as he continues pushing in towards the base now of GUA. And there's a lot of spears coming out for GUA, his opponent. But unfortunately, it looks like he's somewhat overwhelmed by the number of horsemen, as well as the camel archers on the back. Camel archer going to survive up to 31 or down to 31 health at this point. And it looks like GUA going to be okay for the meantime. You can see there's plenty of carcasses under that town center. Have a look at that. He is doing absolutely fine. 255 bounty as well. So he has achieved everything that he wants to, and he's looking quite good. Now, got the blacksmith down. Going to be going for +1. Drops down a barracks as well. So double barracks, double archery range. This is a pretty standard GUA build. If there's one thing this guy loves to do, it's to make production in the second age. He absolutely loves it. Very rare do we see this guy go for a fast castle. Very, very rare. Down towards the base, though, of Hut. Very, very heavy on the food. So the units that he's making is making horsemen, 100 food, 20 wood. And camel archers, 180 food and 60 wood. Really, really expensive when it comes to the food. So he's going to need to secure that food ever so importantly throughout this game. So whether that means he looks to try and get in on these berry bushes, whether he looks to go for professional scouts himself, or whether he just looks to start milling up those hunts, might be a good idea. But you can see he's got a lot of mobility in this mass, and it's a smart way that he's playing, the way that he's moving out. And I think GUA is definitely tracking this force. He knows about what his enemy's up to. You can see the way that he's moving his forces as well, looking to try and catch these out of position. Unfortunately, GUA almost losing that scout there. Hut, on the other hand, does actually spot this out. He does have the scout coming in behind, so he knows what his enemy's up to. Those spears getting off a pretty nice brace there. Unfortunately, going to have to deal with these camel archers. You can see them just having such an easy time going up against these spears, and they're going to be able to force them back. And now it looks like GUA once again going to be running away from his opponent. We'll try and get a nice little perspective in here as the archers do actually take out the camel archers, and beautiful slits coming in right there. But my main concern at this point in time is that these these cavalry horsemen, gosh, these horsemen here just completely outnumber the units of GUA, and GUA still manages to stay alive. I'm not sure exactly why it is that Hutt has determined that pulling back is the most appropriate option here, but I think he would have had that fight quite handedly had he stuck around. We'll take a look over at GUA's base. We'll see how he's doing. An archery range is going to get dropped down for him, so he's moving into the 5th production building for himself here. Now, keep in mind, does have access to the Golden Gate. He's going to be able to continue balancing his economy out with that one. Boar going to get taken down here as well. He's up to 335, so he'll be very happy with that. So with the chain, or going up to 335, it gives him the one remaining boar over on the east side of the map to potentially look at. But look at the forces now coming out from Hutt at this point. There are so many units out for him. 12 horsemen. I want to have a look and see exactly what he's got back here. Double stable and archery range. Still just the 3 production buildings. Spear's going to get picked off here. GUA got to be careful not to lose his reinforcements as they attempt to try and get through and survive. A couple of villagers sitting idle in this wooden fortress. They're going to be able to be accompanied by some more villagers potentially if they need to. But GUA now heading back towards his base and looking to take down Hutt. We'll take a look in the cinematic mode as these two players look to try and engage upon each other. GUA says, "Come here, buddy." And Hutt says, "No, thank you, sir. I am Australian. We do not like to speak to each other that way." That was the best thing I could think of. That was the best I could do for you guys. I'm sorry. I guess from this point, though, I guess the question is, who would you rather be? Would you rather be Hutt, who has somewhat failed to do any damage, or not somewhat failed, but I will just simply say failed to do any damage towards the Rus player at this stage, hasn't gone for 2 TCs, so sitting on single TC, does obviously have fresh foodstuffs in, so has made a lot of villagers. He's sitting on 38 villagers, Hutt, or GUA on 39, so no economic damage there at all. Which player would you rather be? And to be honest, I'd rather be GUA. I think he's in a much better position. I think that with regard to his production, he is very, very happy. He's secured a lot of his food underneath the town center. He's on a relatively good bounty, and he continues to do quite well. But take a look at those spears. Take a look at my spear, man. Those spears doing an absolutely great job of protecting these archers. Archers going to continue focusing down the camel archers, and camel archers just having a very difficult time in this situation. Not enough archers coming out here for Hutt, and I really feel like GUA starting to pull ahead, and you can see that is being reflected in the score. GUA looking incredibly strong at this point in time. 500-point difference between these two players. Now from GUA, I would love to see siege engineering coming in. Don't see it just yet, but very shortly, I'm sure we're going to have it any second, any second, any second. Click it. Click it. Click it. He's not clicking it. Why doesn't he click it? Damn it, man. I could feel he wanted to click it. I could feel it, dude. So GUA now going to push out with the majority of his forces. Did he click it? He still didn't click it. Click it. Hutt now under significant threat. A battering ram here would be really difficult to deal with. And Hutt now going to be losing the first villagers of the game. 2 villagers going down there, unfortunately, for him. Going to be heading back towards his base, and now there are plenty of reinforcements here as well. GUA being very, very careful not to lose those. And GUA just at this point in time playing immaculately is the way I would describe this. Very, very thorough in his playstyle, making sure that there's not a lot of mistakes coming out from him. He's not allowing a lot of opportunities back towards his own base to potentially be to lose any potential fights. You can see just how many spears and archers are sitting back here ready to reinforce. If these guys were to move out, they're such a formidable force that even if they were caught off guard, he would still be able to, put up a relatively decent fight, be able to wait for his reinforcements or his front line to come back. But take a look at this Hutt heading up to the 3rd age. And I really wouldn't be surprised at this point if we actually saw a mangonel come out. A single mangonel would be able to switch or be able to swing this fight. But speaking of swinging this fight back towards the center of the map, it looks like Hutt going to be running into a bit of a difficult situation here as his archers, or camel archers rather, do get sniped down ever so slowly. Now, one thing to note, give you anxiety, he's not running any cavalry at this point. I mean, all right, technically he's got a scout, but other than that, he is not running any cavalry. And you might be wondering, Drongo, why the hell did you care about that? Well, I care about that because the camel archer excels in countering horse cavalry units. GUA, on the other hand, though, he doesn't have any horse cavalry units. The only thing he's got are bad boys down here with big spears and bad boys over here with big bows. Big bows? Like, you know, the bows. Anyway, Hut reaching the castle age. I'm assuming we're going to see a siege workshop drop down immediately. At least there should be. No, it looks like he's going to be going straight into men-at-arms. So we're seeing mass men-at-arms being dropped down here. No siege workshop by the looks of it. We'll check in on his line of sight and see what he sees. A scout back here just hanging out. A few berries being gathered up. Still no siege workshop. So this to me is somewhat, I would say, almost a little bit short-sighted. Now, he does have a blacksmith. Does he have a blacksmith? He doesn't have a blacksmith. So not going to be able to get that +1. So while I accept that, yes, men-at-arms are going to be a very stable counter to this composition, GUA is still going to be absolutely fine in this position and going to continue to ram his opponent very, very handedly. GUA looking incredibly good. Now actually clicking up to the next age. This is pretty big. Now, my main concern, now obviously GUA is clicking up, but if he gets up, he needs to try and maintain the unit mass that he's got here. This is a really big, this is an important thing because he's going to have upgrades here that come through. And when he gets those upgrades, he's going to have a huge amount of units that are all going to experience those together. 43 units. So ideally, he wants to keep everything alive. You can see the horse archers running in, or horsemen running in. Now, spears beginning to engage with the men-at-arms. Men-at-arms trying their best to deal with the spears of their opponent, but really needs to try and keep everything together, and especially that battering ram as well. But GUA now heading back towards his base. It looks like he's aggroed up a boar. Not the right time to aggro a boar, my friend, because I tell you what, you got more to worry about than pork at this point in time. You got to be worrying about your enemy, who is absolutely on your doorstep, pushing in with men-at-arms by the second, by the I don't even know. He's a lot of men-at-arms are pushing in right now. Beautiful flank coming in from Hut. Lovely micro to see. You can see those horsemen getting in on top of those archers. That's exactly where they want to be. Men-at-arms working continually on that front, on that mass of spears, and we see the reinforcements continuing to come in. Scout does go down, and now those horsemen getting in on top and just doing so much damage. GUA getting cleaned up completely here. A little bit of an overextension from the GOAT of Age of Empires 3. It is a bit of a mistake, and unfortunately, it looks like he might be losing out his entire mass here as he continues to split up his two units, or two separate groups of units, almost like it's a team game, and he's run his separate way. Those men-at-arms still trying their best to hang on, and now we'll check in with the base of GUA and see exactly what he is up to, what he's got going on here. Siege Workshop. Mangonel coming out, but he's going up against men-at-arms, and that's going to be extra hard. It looks like he's run out completely of food at the moment. He's sitting on 100 food at this point in time. No farms have gone down. Does have these berries up towards the north. 14 villages heading up to there. But does have the +1 now coming through as well for Hut. So Hut looking quite good. And we are beginning to see GUA under some serious pressure in this game. He was playing it immaculately up until this point, but the men-at-arms switch has definitely taken him by surprise. Mangonel about to be coming out very shortly. Got to be careful not to lose that Mangonel to a swift and decisive switch or attack from the men-at-arms. Mangonel going to be coming off, getting a decent shot off. Lands on top of about 4 of those bad boys. Actually takes out 3 of them. Pretty decent job there. Got to watch those men-at-arms as they do come in. It looks like he gets off another shot. They're going to continue. They're going to attempt to now burn down the Mangonel, and you can see just how fast they're going to be able to get those repairs off, and GUA just going to be microing that in overtime. If he makes a mistake, if he drops the ball on that one, he is going to lose that Mangonel completely. So he's making sure that it does not go down. And he's going to continue trying his best, but Village is going to be going down now. Mangonel's again continuing to fire off on those men-at-arms, and GUA at the same time bringing in his relics with the Warrior Monks. The Abbey of the Trinity is obviously up, and more villages going down on this gold mine. Villages going down everywhere. GUA down to 48 villages. Compare that to his opponent who's on 47, and I tell you what, this is a pretty even game by anyone's standards, to be honest. This is going very, very well for both players at this point in time, and at the same time, both players are on the floor crying because it hurts, Daddy, it hurts. But Hut continuing to take out villages. GUA down to 46 villages at this point. Does have that textiles upgrade. Woodline under significant attack here. GUA going to have to recall the villagers, unfortunately. They're going to have to head to a safer place. Mangonel's still firing off. We hear them just beating down on the enemy, but unfortunately it looks like the second Mangonel is going to be able to come out, going to be able to clean up, and a lot of crossbows here underneath this wooden fortress. They're going to mean that the push that came out from Hut does get shut down, and GUA does stabilize with 45 villages. Compare that over to Hut, who's on 49. He's got a slight villager lead. But he is actually trying, I believe, to track these, what is he doing? Is he tracking the relics? I'm not sure if he's tracking relics. It definitely seems like he may be trying to track relics. Wololol in the middle. Looks like it's just going to be a single men-at-arm that gets captured. He deletes it. Hut with the delete of the men-at-arms. He says, if I can't have it, nobody can. Very, very nice move there from Hut to do that. Great reaction times there. There's a little bit of delay when you're deleting your units. And so he would have had to have sat through that. So pretty smart move there from Hut, realizing that he wasn't actually going to be able to get that one off. So very, very smart move from him. But now the Mangonels just hanging out. These Mangonels are actually looking for the men-at-arms that are up here to the north. But you can see they're very nicely hidden behind this stealth forest. GUA is going to have no idea. He'll have no idea at all. Well, we've got a little bit of a lull in the action. Tonight's sponsor is brought to you by Dr. Pepper. Dr. Pepper Cherry. 0 sugar for 0 worries. Dr. Pepper, drink responsibly. I think that's the best I could probably do. You're so sneaky, GUA, but you ain't fooling anybody, my friend. Those villagers aren't even in your line of sight anymore. Get out of here. Get out of here. Take your relic and get out of here, mate. Looks like the sacred site was trying to get captured up there as well. A couple of warrior monks out on the map. A single lone crossbowman going to be picking a fight with the wrong guys, unfortunately. I'm taking a sip right here, and I'm just like, oh no, the crossbowman brought all of his friends to the party. It's like, we've got this joke in Australia where it's like, we have like the Lebanese kid, and the Lebanese kid is always threatening to bring his cousins to school to fight you. It's like, oh bro, I'll call my cousins gonna come and they're gonna kill you. They're gonna beat you up, bro. Like, that's how, like, it happens in Australia. I don't know if it's like that all over the world, but I felt like at this point in time, like, the crossbowman called his cousins, and he's like, oh my god, you learning my cousins, bro, what's going on? And the villagers are going down. What is GUA doing right now? I'm going to be losing plenty of villagers. GUA now sitting on 48 villagers. Still not doing a bad job, but look at all the relics that GUA's got. He is really going crazy with these Wololols. Tries to get on top of these men-at-arms, not having a whole lot of luck. Still yet to capture them. You can see more villagers dying. GUA 44 idols. Casually 44 idols at this point in time. And now another Wololol. He's going to get these ones. Do we see a Vill delete? Do we see a Vill delete? I don't think we're going to see it. All the Vills turn over to GUA. He is turning the tide of these battles slowly but steadily with these Wololols. And now going to continue to actually siege down these buildings with the villagers. GUA turning the tides up to 53 villagers to 57 of his opponent. So very nice moves there from GUA. I don't even think he realizes he's picked up the villagers. And now GUA throwing away all of his units on the front line. You can see the spears coming out at light speed right now, as well as those veteran horsemen. So GUA, unfortunately, dropping the ball over on this side of the map, still trying to fight out against these men-at-arms. You can see they've got their +2 armor at this point in time, trying their best to hold on. Mangonels now going to be coming out. Now, where are those other Mangonels? There were more Mangonels. Where did they go? Don't tell me that they got sieged down, because there were 2 Mangonels out and about here. GUA in a really difficult spot. He needs to get walls up yesterday. So if I'm GUA, if like, let's say I'm at GUA's house and he's like, all right, Drongo, I gotta go to the bathroom. I gotta take a break. I'll be back in like 5 minutes. Can you play for me? Yep. All right, I got you, bro. What am I doing? I'm like, immediately, I throw down a wall. I throw down a wall over here. I throw down a wall over here. Have I got any villagers over this side? Yes, I do. I'm walling. Okay, I wall here. I wall across like this. Like, you need to wall right now, because you are just under constant pressure, constant raids from this guy. I feel like you need to stop this. You need to start controlling the game. Control the discussion. Control the narrative. Do not allow GUA to go down in flames. You must be like a phoenix. You must fly. Do phoenixes fly? Wait, didn't phoenixes die? Didn't phoenixes burn in ashes? And then I think they came back. Yeah, be like a phoenix, GUA. Over towards the right of the map, GUA continues to try and grab these relics. In fact, I don't even know what he's trying to do over here. No more relics on the map. 4 relics in the Abbey of the Trinity. You got 4 in there. You sneaky little GUA. Now, anybody who knows anything about relics in the Abbey of the Trinity knows that there should only be 3 relics in this bad boy. But he has built a monastery. He's got his 5th relic in there. So we'll give him the benefit of the doubt and say, that's all right, mate. But it looks like we do have the first farms going down for GUA. And going to be repelling towards the front. Mangonel now going to be coming out for his opponent, Hut. First one of the game, and do we see an immediate response? We see Springald's coming down already for GUA, so he's looking good to respond to that. But towards the back of his base, he's got multiple raids that are continuing to come through. 3 spearmen, 4 men-at-arms, and now a whole bunch of horsemen on the front line here. GUA got to be careful. He's going to be losing these. Keep in mind, these bad boys were recently buffed, but the mangonels on the back line actually turn around and say, "G'day, mate. How you going?" Give him a big whoop-whoop, and there we go. Mangonel's getting off another shot. Now, these villagers need to try and get in on top of these Springalds, as the Springalds do unfortunately go down. Keep in mind that these horsemen have recently been buffed up. They do a lot more damage to siege units, and once again at the back of the base, the GUA, he is under attack here. We have got fights all over the map right now. It is absolute insanity. GUA still somehow managing to stay ahead. 48 villagers for him. Compare that over to his opponent, who's on 73. When I wasn't looking, Hart must have dropped a second town center. Indeed, he did. He's got a second town center over here. I don't know how long he's had that, but when he's sitting on 73 villagers, it makes me feel like it might have been quite a while that he's had that. Springald's now coming out, and GUA mass beginning to build. Hart sitting on 16 military, GUA on 31, so a 15 advantage at this point in time. He's looking pretty good, I would say. Our boy's looking pretty good. But you see, I'm a little bit tired. As you guys know, I come from AoE 3. That's, you know, that's my bread and butter. I wake up in the morning, I put on some bread and butter, that sort of thing. But I'm also Australian, and so I'm kind of rooting for the guy down under. You know, it's a little bit either way. It's a little bit, how's your father? That's what we say in Australia. Really good job of preventing the sacred sites from being taken. And now, not only has GUA prevented his opponent from taking the sacred sites, but he is now taking the sacred sites himself. And that's pretty crazy to think that the Rus player is able to push out and actually able to take these sacred sites off the Delhi, who really get so much value out of them. And a little bit of overchopping going to be happening now. Crossbow's moving up and going to be able to point this one out. Sacred sites continuing to get taken. One sacred site going over to GUA. Second sacred site about to go over. It looks like a little raid towards the north here. We've got a single veteran horseman that continues to be annoying. A men-at-arms just hanging out up towards the north, and multiple mangonels. Oh my lord, look at the mangonels coming out for GUA. He is looking very fierce, ladies and gentlemen, at this point in time. And, No. I'm doing that thing with my finger. You know that thing? No, girlfriend. Waving the finger back and forward. I'm like, You don't do that with 3 men-at-arms, my friend. Nuh-uh. This mangonel mass is beginning to build significantly. He's got 3 Springalds in here. At this point, I'm starting to feel like the only appropriate counter to this is mass Springalds. Now, you saw what your enemies got. If you see your enemies got 5 mangonels, you're like, at that point, you're like, okay, I think it's safe for me to like just make lots of Springalds at this point. I could probably get away with making like 8 Springalds. That's the way I think about that. So I would be making a shitload of Springalds right now if I'm hot. But he is opting for a keep. I think this is a good play, but my main concern is that it's not going to get up fast enough. GUA now able to push in. Springalds unfolding, getting first one gets evaporated. Second one looking to come in. Mangonel's getting off great shots. This keep has still got a long way to go. It's got less than 1,000. You can see all the villagers in there. Mangonel's not getting off many shots. He's got 3 mangonels left. The keep does actually get up. It did take some damage, so he manages to keep it alive. He's going to have to fall back from this position. A lot of units in here. Unfortunately for GUA, it doesn't look like he's got a lot to defend it. He's going to try his best. The keep is firing off, but you can see just how much damage is getting done here. All the mangonel's going to come down. No villagers up here on the front line to be able to repair these bad boys, and it looks like GUA going to be forced to retreat once again in this game as Hart identifies his win condition and he says, I'm going for it, baby. I'm going for it. So let's talk a little bit about from here, what are the win conditions for these players? Hart adding a 3rd town center. Well, this is it. So Hart's win condition is to just have a big economy. He wants to get to 130, 140 villages, even 150 villages. He doesn't care. He just wants to make a lot of villages, and with 3 town centers, that's exactly what he wants to do. And then he wants to survive. Eventually, he wants to get to the Imperial Age, and he just wants to start spamming out Imperial units with a bigger economy than his opponent. Just take bad trades. That's okay. You've got a bigger economy. It's going to be all right. What does GUA want to do? GUA wants to get to the late game on a relatively similar economy to his opponent and get to Imperial. That's his game plan. That's his win condition. The issue is he's on 58 villages and he's only on 1 town center. His opponent is on 96 villages and he's on 3 town centers. So this is where it becomes a little bit more difficult for him. So if earlier in the game I said, who would I rather be between these two players? And I said GUA. Well, looking at the state of affairs currently, it's definitely Hut. Hut with a much larger economy, a much larger, girth on the base. It's very rounded. I think a lot of women would be happy with this base. It is just absolutely very, very well presented. But now up to the north, it does look like we do have the second town center finally being added for GUA, coming in at 30 minutes on the dot. So that is very, very nice for GUA. And that is exactly what he needs to try and stay in this game. My fear is this is coming a little bit late. If this had come down maybe about 8 or 9 minutes ago, I think he'd be in an okay spot, because you need to extrapolate that out, okay? 20 seconds to make a villager. If it's up for 9 minutes, that means 27 villagers. I'm sitting on 62. 27 villagers puts me at 87 versus the 104 of my enemy. That's not too bad. 104 versus 87. Like, I could do that. So it really comes down to, like, sort of working out those timings and making sure. But hold on. GUA has a third TC? Oh, shit. GUA has 3 TCs? I'm going to need to get my eyes checked after this, man. How do I miss these things? How do I miss these town centers? Third town center coming up for GUA. GUA not looking like he's in a bad spot. My main concern, he doesn't have a lot of villagers right now, but the fact he's got this third town center up, it's looking better. His odds just improved at least 16%. Jeez Louise. Middle of the map here, some horse archers attempting to run underneath the keep. Not having a whole lot of luck there, as you would expect. Mangonel rollout continues. Very, very slowly, though. Kind of reminds me of the National Broadband Network rollout in Australia. It's a very slow but steady rollout. But, I mean, in the end, we paid for something that we didn't want. And it feels like the Mangonels is going to be the exact same thing. Is it just me, or, like, I feel like my mini-map is bugged. I was looking at it, and I'm like, where's his second TC? It's like, there's his main TC. I'm just blind. I'm blind as a bat. That's it. I've got my glasses on. I'm telling you, I can see. I just can't look. Maybe it's late. Let's go with that excuse. I could always say it was the COVID. It's the long COVID. Nah, that's a bit of a... I can't use that one anymore. It doesn't work. Springwood's going to be fighting off with the Springwoods. Mangonel's going to be going down, and GUA lacking a sufficient force here, unfortunately. So I think at this point in time, he's going to be thinking a little bit more about the men-at-arms that are coming out from his opponent. These are very strong Mangonels. Very strong men-at-arms. These bad boys are Delhi men-at-arms. Delhi? Abbasid. These are Abbasid men-at-arms. They're not strong at all. Don't worry. Drongo's going crazy. Man, I'm actually going crazy. I need to take a sip of my Dr. Pepper. We're not sponsored, but Dr. Pepper, reach out. Say g'day. Hut now going up to the next stage. He was going to go up with the trade wing. I think he's cancelled it. Yeah, he's cancelled it, gone with the military wing instead. Very, very cheeky. Hut now looking pretty good. GUA on the other hand. Let's tune in with him. So, as you can see, GUA all again doing the no wall challenge. And this is something, once again, I sit down at GUA's computer, Drongo, take over, I gotta go to the bathroom. All right, GUA, I got you, bro. Wall the fuck out of everything, bro. I don't care, just wall it all. You're playing the Rus. They got the best walls in the game, baby. You just wall like crazy. Fortified palisade walls. They build faster, they're cheaper, they're prettier, they got more health on them, they look cooler, they take more letters to spell. Like, everything about these things is just cool. All right, so you got to be making them. Hut now significantly ahead, and he is expanding his walls out. So, as I mentioned to GUA, you got to be expanding your walls out, mate. Hut doing the right thing. Hut just continuing to expand out his walls, and looking to actually expand towards the edge of the map. So he's doing 100% the right thing at this point. Still a lot of deer down here. 7 deer down here, so he could move out here if he wanted to. Yeah, Hut definitely looking very strong. Once he reaches the Imperial Age, my fear is that GUA may be done. Just simply because it's so hard to stop an Abbasid player once they get to the Imperial Age. They've got very strong economy. Mangonel shot continuing to get off, but unfortunately, GUA going to be losing that Mangonel before the villagers can get rounded to it. 117 villagers versus the 80. GUA not doing too badly, but slowly but steadily working on that villager number. But my main concern, he's got no military, or at least if he does, he's not really using it. Still no walls coming up for GUA. And the longer this game goes on, the longer I fear for GUA, just simply because there's still no walls up, and these raids are just continually able to abuse GUA constantly. But now it looks like Veteran Horseman going to be coming through. What kind of upgrades have we got? We'll do a quick check and see what upgrades we've got on the way. It looks like we've got elite men-at-arms. We've also got elite horsemen and elite camel archers coming through. We'll have a look and see. No economic upgrades. It looks like we've got angled surfaces, Damascus steel coming through now as well for Hutt. So he is getting 5 separate Imperial or elite upgrades. That's absolutely huge. Up towards the north now, GUA going to be losing some more villagers here. You can see him moving, and he's actually gone in and picked up a relic out of his Abbey of the Trinity. He's now going to be moving over towards the forces here, probably trying to get a Walla Lol off. Not having a lot of luck. He's actually going to be trying his best to get this bad boy between a rock and a hard place. Indeed, he's between a rock. Indeed, he's between a hard place. Let's see how well he manages to do it. Unfortunately, not a whole lot of wellness going on there. A lot of death, though. Look at that poor thing. Is that a donkey? Why does it keep dying like that? The poor thing. All the crossbows going to get cleaned up completely. Elite horsemen trying their best, but not going to be able to clean up the remainder of the crossbows. And now the relic just gets to sit out, just chill out, get some fresh air. You know, you got to walk your relics. You know how you're meant to walk small dogs? I mean, you probably walk big dogs. You probably walk medium-sized dogs as well. Even like the very large ones. I'm just going to go with dogs. You know how you're meant to walk dogs? Well, you're meant to walk relics as well. So that relic is getting its walk for today. But now we can see the elite horseman upgrade has come through. And at this point in the game, this is where Hutt just makes horsemen. And he wins. He can just make only horsemen for the rest of the game, and he just wins. And that is because they are so strong. They trade very effectively into spears at this point in the game. Just because of their speed, they're able to get into the base. They're able to reinforce very quickly. Wallala up towards the north. Going to try and secure up these villages. Not going to have a whole lot of luck as the horsemen do continue fighting it out amongst the town centers and chasing these villages away. You can see they're actually up to the 5 armor. These Imperial horsemen are going absolutely ham at this point. And now back towards the middle of the map, it looks like the battering ram for Hutt going to be coming through. We'll take a look from his perspective and see exactly what he sees as he actually looks to push forward onto this gold vein and secure it up. If he secures this gold vein, it's going to be pretty much a good game. It's going to guarantee him at least 8,000 gold for the next 5 minutes, 6 minutes. He's going to be able to get ahead significantly with that. But now continuing to move in. We've got some beautiful horsemen. Let's follow along right now as they begin to ride through, heading into the base of his opponent. And it looks like GUA is going to tap out, unfortunately. Hutt, the Australian sensation, the Thunder from Down Under, is victorious in this game in the first day of qualifying at N4C. Fellas, if you're watching this on YouTube, I hope you've enjoyed this game. A bit of a marathon game, if I would say so. GUA played his absolute heart out, but unfortunately, at the end of the day, that second town center that I couldn't see probably came through a little bit earlier than I expected, but just wasn't early enough. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the game. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Thank you so much for watching.